Hello, everybody. My name is Brandy Cadet, but I go by Brandy Simone Photography. I'm 30 and I'm a wedding photographer in the Houston area, but I'll fly anywhere. But thank
Gotcha,
you.
heard that. Okay, so yeah, are you from Houston? You born out here?
I was not, but I like to say that I'm born and raised here because I was here since I was 6. I don't really remember anything else before here. So, yes.
Gotcha. Where are you
Native-
from originally?
I was born in North Carolina, but don't ask me about anything from there. I don't really
Okay,
remember much.
gotcha. You still got family out there?
We have close family friends, so I need to go visit them if you're listening to this. Hey, but I don't get out there as much as I should, I feel like.
Okay, all right. So yeah, what when you moved from North Carolina to Houston, what area did y'all kind of settle in?
Ooh, my family is in like the Missouri City area, so not too close to like downtown. My dad's a pilot, so that's why we traveled around a lot for work before I was like, younger,
Okay,
6.
like Air Force or something, or like commercial?
He was in the Air Force before. That's so funny that you asked that. He was in the Air Force and then he works for United now. So just,
Gotcha. That's
very
dope.
pilot. Yeah, cool. Very cool job. I love it.
Any funny stories? Any good stories from childhood with your dad being, all over?
Oh my gosh, good. I mean, there's so many things I could say. I've been stranded in airports more times than, the average bear. Flying standby is quite a thing. I will say, like my most memorable time, I was getting kicked off of the benefits because when you're a pilot's kid, you can fly for free for so long. But
Mm.
my last trip was my birthday, and I was in Spain with my mom, and the flights out really sucked. And I was literally getting kicked off of the plan, that day on my birthday, but we had to get back. And we got stuck over there. The flights were all really awful. We couldn't get off the standby list. And I ended up having to drive in
In
Spain.
another country. That's
Yes,
crazy.
the other airport to get to the other airport to get out. So we made it. We're here, but that was like probably the
Gotcha.
craziest story that I ended up in because of that.
That's dope. That's dope. Shout out to Pops.
Yep,
Okay,
I
so,
love
so
him.
yeah,
Hi,
all
guys.
right. Yeah, definitely shout out Pops. So yeah,
Yes.
all right, kind of take me through like what you were like as a kid, like a young kid, what were you into?
That's so fun. Okay. Got me over here going down memory lane.
Let's do it.
When I was younger, I think I was always kind of like a creative kid, the stuffed animals, like doing different jobs, being teachers. But I did always gravitate towards like making videos and like pictures. I remember like we had our like first computer with like the camera on it. I would always be like recording videos, like a vlogger, if you will, but I just never posted
Gotcha.
anything. So I could have made it big had I posted. But
Okay.
I was just, I don't know, into like entertaining, having my friends over. Like, we did like the shows where we like made like little skits and stuff like that. Like, I was that kid.
So,
I was
so
like,
you
okay.
had a little YouTuber phase for a little bit.
Yeah, unofficially, you know what I mean? Like off the record.
Gotcha.
Definitely was one of those kids. But yeah, I've always kind of gravitated towards cameras and things like that in general. I went to school for film. My high school had a film program, so like I did stuff like that, and then I just kind of fell into photography after that. So I've always kind of just loved a camera, loved making people laugh.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dope. And what high school did you go to?
I went to Hightower. Are you from here?
Yeah, I went to Side Lakes in Cyprus.
Okay, a little further. But we were good at football
Uh,
back in the day, so we might have played y'all. I don't remember.
we not the same class.
Oh, you're small. Wait, are you bigger?
No, I'm 25. I'm 25. I graduated
No, I
2016.
know, but I said back in my day we were good at football.
Right. I wouldn't know nothing about back in your day, is what I'm
Oh
saying.
my gosh. For the record, everybody were 5 years different. It was not, he was just a little
Back in
small.
your day.
Exactly.
No, that's cool though. That's dope. Like what was the photography program like at your school?
We had a media academy, or they probably still do a media academy. So we learned about like broadcasting, about like pretty much everything in broadcasting. We learned about like short film skits, stuff like that. I also did the photography class. So I learned like, that's where I learned like the basics and all that stuff. And just
Gotcha.
got, like really experience behind the camera, lighting, all that fun stuff. So I was really hands on from a very young
That
age.
like was it mixed with like the yearbook stuff at all?
I chose to do yearbook. I'm all about that. I was definitely all over the place. I was like, whatever I can take a picture of, like, let's do it. I probably had too much on my plate. I think I also did probably newspaper or whatever it was called at one point too. It's always
Gotcha.
everywhere with my camera.
Gotcha. I was gonna ask too, like, was that like the main like extracurricular you had, or like did you play sports or anything?
I was not a sports girly, so I guess yes. That's all I did. I those are all my friends were in the academy kind of like, and then I did theater a little bit, but I stopped doing it sophomore year and I just focused on, internships and things like that. So yes,
Gotcha. And yeah,
extracurricular.
I saw you said I read your bio on the website and you mentioned like you like being in front of the camera too. Like, have you thought of doing any sort of, theater in front of the camera stuff?
I feel like I had to pick one. That's just like the way that I
Gotcha.
work. So like I was gonna pursue that more. And then I just found like being behind the camera was really more of like where I was called to be. I feel like I love entertaining in general. So I feel like in my friend circles, like, we just have a good time. We cut up even when I feel like it shows up whenever I'm shooting a wedding, I'm very just like I love to entertain, make sure everyone's having fun and just
Gotcha.
stuff like that, but it never like professionally. But it has been cool in marketing, like with putting myself on like TikTok and like Instagram and stuff kind of comes like naturally to me to do. So it kind
Uh,
of a little bit kind of wiggled its way back
yeah,
in.
kind of sprinkle in the content and stuff.
Exactly. So it's like I should
Gotcha.
get more. So if you're gonna go check my platforms, don't
Okay.
do it right now. But it definitely
Gotcha.
is something that's like fun for me.
Okay, so yeah, in high school, did you have like an idea what you wanted to do after school, or like was photography like set in your head at that point?
I don't think it was set as a job. I didn't think I could do that. Like, I don't know. I guess you don't really know what you don't know. So I
Right.
went to school for film, then I went to in high school, I did that. And then I just like, oh, I'll study this in college. And so I did that out all throughout college. I had an internship at Nickelodeon my senior year. So I was like, maybe I'll do something like this and work like in a different set of production or anything. And that was in New York. But then I came back to Houston and I just started doing wedding videography. Actually, I started off as a videographer,
And
and
real quick, before you get too far, because I definitely want to touch on that. The Nickelodeon thing that was in college, you said?
yes, that was my senior year. I did an internship at. I This was like behind the scenes. I was definitely not on camera doing anything, but it's like the behind the scenes, like how the show is being run. I was
Well,
learning.
how'd you even get into it? Like, how'd you even get chosen for that? Or
Applying for things back in my day, like I said, was I feel like it was a little bit. I feel like it was almost. I don't want to say easier. That feels like a horrible thing to say, but
Mhm.
we had connections. We had our program with Baylor, so we applied
Gotcha.
everywhere. And like I feel like maybe some people prior to me in my program had gone before, but it was just reaching out to anyone who had an internship. And I feel like people are always, or they felt it seemed like they were always like willing to have interns as opposed to like people like wanting a job. It seemed like it was like easier to wiggle your way in that way.
Gotcha.
Like, hi, I'm just here to not be free help, but to
Yeah,
help
right.
like at a
Right.
much cheaper rate. Please bring me in.
So
But
was
yeah,
it just like a basic application you just filled out? Was it like any video stuff you had to do?
I didn't have to do much video stuff. Maybe like tell them what I was interested in so I can know what part of the program it would make sense for me to be in. But it was like a huge, huge, huge program. I would say if anyone's listening and interested, it's a really good program. It might be changed now to like Paramount, but they had a lot of opportunities, a lot of really great people. I don't know, it's just a really good environment. So 10 out of 10 recommend. But New York was not my long-term calling. It's very expensive to live the way that I was trying to live in college. And I was like,
Right.
Texas.
Gotcha. Okay, so like during that time, like, do you feel like you learned anything? Did you take anything from the program that you feel like kind of you use still today?
Honestly, it was such a different part of the industry that I don't feel like I necessarily use that stuff now. I think it was more of like an experience to like learn what's out there. And I didn't think I
Gotcha.
could go into TV after that, honestly. But I was like, that's just not like what I was super passionate about. For me, it's just about working. I love the idea of working for myself and like doing things that I feel motivated to do, not just like someone's telling me to do this and this is like their big idea. So
Right.
it has to be something that like motivates me and I'm excited about, or else I don't know. It's just not my,
Gotcha.
you know.
No, I get you. So like during that time, do you like was there any good experiences from it? Like, being in the mix, did you see any cool stuff, get any cool experiences or anything?
I feel like my favorite takeaway from that, honestly, I worked the Kids Choice Awards, and
Okay.
anyone that knows me knows that I'm the biggest Jonas Brothers fan. So that was the year that Nick Jonas was hosting it.
Okay.
And my claim to fame, I always say that I was like, we worked together, but we didn't. But I made slime for one of like the promos, and I feel as though like we were connected in that moment. We were coworkers.
Okay.
I was like,
You made Nick Jonas slime. Okay.
Exactly. That's how we tell people. That's how we pitch the
Got you.
narrative.
That'll be the clip.
For Nick Jonas. Thank you so much.
That'll be the clip for sure.
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, after that, like, so you did that, you kind of got a taste of it, realized you didn't really like the TV style. Like, did you immediately kind of decide on wedding photography at that point, or was there like other stuff in the mix at that point?
I think I just knew I didn't want to do it. Ooh, I don't want to make this seem mean or anything. I just knew I didn't want to do like live production or like anything like that. I didn't want it to be so big scale either. I wanted like more like smaller, intimate kind of projects. I didn't really know what that looked like, but I just wanted like more input in the creative process, I guess. So that didn't seem like
Gotcha.
that was where I wanted to be. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I came back to Houston and a friend was doing wedding videography and she's like, "Hey, do you want to like work where I work?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll try it." And then I was like, "I love this." But I've always loved weddings. I'm a girl, you know, you
Yeah,
dream
I
of.
was gonna say I saw you. You said you shot your first wedding in high school.
Yeah, people. So I always had a camera. Remember, I said that earlier. So
Right.
people were like, "Oh, can you shoot this? Do you want to shoot my wedding? Do you want to do this?" And I don't know why. Like she trusted me. I was a little chicken nugget. It was like my friend's mom, and she's so
Gotcha.
sweet. Listening to this, hi, I love you. And she just trusted me to shoot her wedding. So cute. When I find the pictures now, or I see them like reposted from wherever, I'm like, "Wow, that's really crazy."
And how
But
old were you at that point?
ooh, maybe like that was in 2010, so maybe I was like 15.
Okay, so first real experience under your belt, like at
I don't know.
15.
Yes, I don't think it was a go. It was definitely nothing like what I shoot now. Like it was a smaller, more intimate ceremony. There's a lot of people there, but like I knew all of them, so it wasn't like a bunch of strangers and I'm like the one person that's like having
Like a family
the party
event.
going. Yeah, so that was one, and then I did another one like closely after that that was a little bit different because it was like a friend, but I didn't really know everybody. So yes, that
Gotcha.
yeah, that was very scary. That actually made me like kind of scared to do wedding photography because I was like, this is too much pressure.
So
But
so back then you kind of got like pushed away from it, like this is too much. Like,
I just never really saw it as a option for a career. You know, you never really think about
gotcha.
like this is what I'll do. Like I don't know. I just didn't really see it until I don't know. It just hit me like a ton of bricks later. Like, oh, I can just do this. This is fine. I love doing this.
Then to that point too, like you saying that you were in photography in high school and stuff, and then like still going to college and everything. Like, was it more so just like college was just the natural path everybody was being pushed towards, or like,
Uh huh.
like did you not see it as like maybe I could just skip college and start doing this, you know?
If I think if I was like younger and like the skipping college thing was more like common, I feel like it became like a thing. Like people like my leap year, whatever they said, where they like skipped a year. That became a thing. Like when I was in college, I saw people talking about it, maybe like YouTube vloggers or something. But
Gotcha.
my dad was really adamant about me going to school, so I was like, okay, it wasn't really an option to not go. But I think I might have tried to push back more and just try to see what I could do if it was more of a thing. I just never thought of it
Yeah.
as an option, honestly. But I would have
Yeah.
loved to. I think I would have thrived.
And definitely like part of me doing this is like for that reason of like showing examples of people like in the area close around you that are actually doing it, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
definitely hopefully you'll be an example for somebody that's interested, you know. So
yeah.
definitely.
We don't need college, but also it was very great. I feel like you learn so much. Like, first of all, you learn a lot of life skills. You learn like professionalism. You learn how to work in a team. You learn like just so much stuff that doesn't like you don't think about, but you also don't need it to make it anywhere. So like I
Yeah,
see both sides of the coin. I think I would let my kid choose, but
gotcha. Okay, so like definitely you would say you got something from it, but for your career specifically, do you feel like you needed it to kind of, get it where you were, or do you feel like you could have got there without the college experience?
that's a tough one. I think as a creative, we learn like as we go. It's nice. It's very nice to have like formally learned everything because I didn't have to like seek out things that I didn't understand and just like try to make it make sense. Like I was being
Yeah.
taught like everything. So that was nice. I didn't really have to think about it. So now whenever like I am doing things, I feel like it's easier to break the rules when you know exactly like what they
Yeah,
should
the
be.
structure and
Yeah, and I feel like I don't know. I think you can just tell like the way that people shoot or think, or I just think some things have been ingrained into my mind because I just learned them and been taught. So I love that. I love that like my natural thought is to do it like technically correct, and then I
Right.
can get creative if I choose to, and it's not like I'm trying to fight to get something because I don't know how to do it. So I
Gotcha.
like that. I think I thrive in a school setting. So I think that was good for me. But again, it doesn't have to be everyone's story. But I
No,
did.
definitely, and I'm definitely not trying to push towards anything, but definitely because I like, my college experience, I feel like most people my age currently, I feel like, and maybe that's extreme, not most, but like a
Yeah.
large number of people my age, I feel like are like going to college and having that experience of like, why am I here? This is so much money. What do I want to do? Like, where does
Yeah.
this lead? So
Yeah.
definitely like, I just kind of want to touch on that throughout some episodes just to kind of like see what people are saying, like what they think and stuff. So
Yeah.
definitely appreciate that. But
Yeah.
in between like college and you doing like photography full time and everything, like did you do any other hustles or any jobs or anything in between?
It's kind of always been photography for me, but I did primarily used to work for like another company. So I was just their like lead photographer, and it was cool because it was like a nice learning curve. Like I jumped in. I didn't really do weddings, I just knew how to do photography in general, but
Gotcha.
actual wedding is like a live production. It's like go, go, go. Like you got to know what's going on or else you're going to get left behind and miss a lot of stuff. So I got to like learn without like as much pressure on me. I feel like
You
in
being the
time.
second.
Yes, I was a second, but then I became the lead a lot. But it was like it wasn't my company, so like I wasn't like in charge of like the back end of a lot of things. So it was like I got to like get my feet wet in the industry and
Gotcha.
like learn everything. And then I just saw so many people around me that like look like me, like young women that have their own businesses. And I was like, oh, I can do this myself. Like I don't have to like work for other people. Like, cause it felt like, you're a contract worker, you're creative.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of work for yourself, but you still answer to people. But now it's more like, okay, I pick and choose what I'm going to do. I attract my own clients, and it's really cool to just have seen my career grow to what it is today.
Well, definitely. And on that too, like, do you feel like you would recommend that to people, like, as far as like starting under somebody so you could kind of like make mistakes, like without your name being,
Yeah. I think it's hard to say. I think it's wise because I really believe in just like mentorship and learning and like not thinking that you're like everything. I feel like
like
there's a
being coachable?
yeah, being coachable is so important because like if you just jump out the gate, like I know I've seen a lot of photographers that they just pick up a camera and go because like they have a good eye, but like flash is not something you can just pick up and like do well. And I think for a wedding, or I would want my wedding photographer to know how to do anything in any lighting situation to get a photo that they like in any condition. Like I think of a time when like a couple's wedding, it was supposed to be outside and it ended up being indoors, like in a really dark, like their venue's really dark and it's nothing like the outside, but I knew how to light it correctly. But I feel like some people don't think that they're like, oh, I take good photos, like I know what I'm doing, and it's like, okay, but
It's
that
like not knowing, like you don't know what you don't know kind of thing.
exactly, you don't know what you don't know, and it's like you can be really prideful and do that, and then mess up somebody's day, and that's a horrible feeling. You never want to put yourself, I feel like, in that position. So I feel like being prepared
Right.
is the best thing ever. So I recommend if you can at least get a mentor, like shadow people often, like ask questions, make sure that you're not just like staying in your little box of what you think is
Definitely. Okay. And any other like educational type of stuff you did, maybe like courses or anything you paid for,
courses.
or like working with anybody, shadowing anybody?
I paid for my education, so that was a big course. I have a mentor. Her name is Ray Whitney. So I did invest in mentorship. And I feel like did I do anything else? There's like workshops that photographers go to. I did that like early on just to kind of like learn. And you can like sit there and like go to different classes and learn from different like photographers out there. So I did that earlier on. Now
Okay.
I just like to work with like people in the industry that like I look up to and like see if I can like reach out. Like even just talking to people. Like I don't necessarily have to like work with them, but just like getting to pick their brain and like hear things that they deal with in the industry that like maybe I could like learn from. So I think building a community of people that are like-minded in the same industry as you, so you don't feel like you're just out here on your own. It's a really isolating industry.
Gotcha.
If you're creative, it's like who else does this? Like it's just us working for ourselves. So it's
Creators, entrepreneurs in general,
yeah,
definitely like,
yeah.
you know, yeah, I'll leave that there, definitely.
Yeah, it's super
But
isolating. So get around people that are like similar and like-minded. And I feel like that's just super helpful.
gotcha. Okay, and then like any do you feel like as far as like the path that you took, do you feel like there was things that maybe you should have focused on earlier that you kind of realized later, like if I had focused on these things sooner,
Yeah.
that would have kind of made me money faster, kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, I think I just wish I would have taken the risk earlier on like and bet on myself and not be scared. I was told that like it was so hard to have a business and like I was kind of gaslit into believing that that's probably bad to say, but I was told to believe that it's extremely difficult to have your own business and to like make it. Like I was told that people like don't make it, like the businesses goes out of like you go bankrupt, lose all your money. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so scary. Like it could never
Hmm.
be me. But then I met people that were like younger than me that had like they're like they were doing it. And I'm like, if you can
Right.
figure it out, like I can figure it out. So I think just like not like if you feel like something is like what you're supposed to be doing, like go for it. I mean, the worst you can do is, people don't like it. You have to go get like a normal job. But like that's not the end of the world. You know what
Right.
I
And
mean?
then
It's
you
fine.
back where you started, so you didn't really
Exactly.
lose nothing trying it, right? So
Exactly. Exactly.
gotcha. And then I forgot to ask when you were saying that, but have you gotten any good advice from people that you've reached out to that you know, kind of look up to or anything?
Ooh. People love to say charge your worth. And then kind of because I feel like pricing is always like a fun thing to be stressed about when you're an entrepreneur. You never know, like, you think that you want something, but then people like don't want to pay it, and then you feel like, well, am I worth this? Or like is my work bad? And like, you just go through that whole imposter syndrome like cycle in your head. But just, making that decision for yourself, like this is what I want to charge, this is what I want to do, and like knowing your worth and not going under that unless like that's a client that you really feel like you want to work with for whatever reason. You can do whatever you want, but like don't just knock your value down for just because everyone's telling you no. You know what I mean? So that's
Gotcha.
like some good advice. People have told me that. And I'm like,
Heard that.
I'll remember that. Thank you.
Heard that. Okay. So yeah, all right. Kind of take me through like you like starting to go on your own, like from working with people to kind of like building your own clientele and everything.
Yeah. Ooh,
What was that experience? You know.
that is a bumpy ride, let me tell you that one. So I had no idea how to do anything marketing. Like that is the one area where I had 0% expertise. Like I feel like I
Yeah.
saw
What was like the first thing you tried to like to you know what I'm saying, content or business cards?
horrible. Like the Instagram post where you just like put like the cheesiest of all captions, like probably no hashtags. I don't even know if that was a thing back then. But then I was like, ew, I'm gonna start doing like what did I do? Like
2019.
Facebook ads, something like that. And that's definitely like it might work for people. I have no idea, but for me, it absolutely tanked. Like I wasted thousands doing Facebook ads and I got no ROI, like literally 0% ROI. And I was like, okay, this is bad news bears. But
Touch on that for me though, real quick, a little bit, because definitely like, because you know, Instagram ads are like, it's like any business tactic. It's like if it's worked for someone before, it's possible to work, but it's like, you know, what kind of like testing, you know, kind of talk me through like what you tried and kind of like where you feel like it went wrong or what you could have did better.
okay, well, I didn't want to learn it myself, so I outsourced, which I
Okay.
think at that point I didn't really have my brand voice. I didn't really like have my ideal client. Like I wasn't confident on like what I was trying to say to my people. So I feel like outsourcing that in that phase was terrible. So like ads were going out that I didn't really resonate with. Like it was just really crazy wording, and then it was not attracting the right kind of clients like whatsoever, and like, then nothing would stick. So like if I had to call them, like they would be flaky, or like it would just like the worst case scenario
And
ever.
this was like a agency you reached out to?
I guess maybe like how do I even find them? Honestly, I don't know. Maybe like Instagram searching
Okay.
like Facebook ad, like I don't know, because I knew Instagram was attached to Facebook, so you had to do the Facebook ads, blah blah blah. So I was like, well, I don't know how to do ads. Let me just hire somebody. Never.
Gotcha.
Let's just not just hire somebody. But that was a big like reason why I got my mentor, because I was like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing wrong. Like I know that I can shoot. Like I've done like, you know what I mean? Like I just, it was like a weird place.
Yeah,
I was like, I know that I'm not like beginning and starting off, but like, why can't I get any clients? And I learned about organic marketing and like how to like position myself and
talk
like,
about it.
right, that was something that I was like, oh, this is very simple, but how come I had no idea what was going on?
Hmm.
So just knowing like my ideal client, like creating that client avatar in your head, like the person that you're always like writing content for, talking to, knowing like what I wanted to get across, like in my content, like stuff like that. So I learned my brand voice. I gained my brand voice
Gotcha.
and learned how to make content for my people. And that was like that was a game changer. I didn't understand how it changed the game, but now like I attract clients and I'm like, I love it so much. Like, why don't I feel like
Right.
I really already know you? So it's really cool. So if you ever heard about organic marketing or been interested in like selling yourself and don't know how to start, I feel like I would definitely say like get confident about like who you're selling to, about what you do and how to word that. And I feel like that'll attract the right people to you.
Heard that. Okay, and like what sort of like content did you start with, and are you still posting like the same stuff that you started with, or have it has it kind of evolved as you got into it?
You know, the algorithm is confusing. So I will never act like I know what the heck is going on with the algorithm. Honestly, I just started posting just like what I know about weddings, like a wedding day from my perspective, like in my voice and not trying to sound, I feel like I used to try to sound like so professional. Like I didn't really know,
Hmm.
like, you never, I don't know. You like, what do I write the caption to be? But then I
Yeah,
just started talking like myself, you know, and just like talking about like wedding tips, things like that. I would post things that like I really enjoyed and like resonated with. Like I never really post like a couple just smiling at the camera. I feel like that's kind of, you know, a standard shot, beautiful shot. Everyone needs to have it, but that's not like what my favorite pictures are. So I started posting the things that I like more and that I was like, I would want my couples to want these pictures. And I just like
gotcha.
kind of changed what I was showing people and what I was saying. And it just felt more like me. It looks more like me. It sounds more like me. And that was like the turning point. I was like, finally, I'm not
You
getting
feel
these.
like it kind of helped like boost everything a little more, like you being putting
Yeah.
yourself in it a little more.
Yeah. And people that followed me were like following me because of that and not just like, oh, a pretty wedding photo. It felt like they were like, oh, okay, I like her. And I was like,
Gotcha.
thank you, please.
Gotcha. Okay. Any tips like, any specific maybe tactics or anything that you could give out, anything
Ooh,
that's worked for you specifically?
what are we talking about? Social media? What are we
Yeah,
going?
starting with social media, and then we'll kind of go into anything else you know.
Okay, yes. I feel like you know a lot more than your like ideal client knows, but it's just like making a list of the things that you're an expert in that they like probably have no idea about. I like to ask my friends who are not in the wedding industry, like, hey, tell me like what you would think you would have questions about for photography. Like, what don't you understand? And
Gotcha.
it's nice to have like an like insight like that because I'm talking to brides all day. I'm talking to my photography friends all day. Like
People
we
who
obviously
want
know
what you're selling.
exactly. So it's like different whenever you have a different perspective. You're like, oh, you didn't understand that? Let me make content around that. So picking
Gotcha.
your friends' brains. If you got friends, that's free help right there. Just go ahead and hop on a quick
So
call.
definitely, you say like maybe have a circle of people that you kind of like,
Yeah.
get feedback from. Like,
Yeah.
you'll still do what you want to do, but just getting feedback.
Yes, I feedback is huge. I mean, I'm all about like teamwork, group projects in college and high school are my favorite things. But I think it's like getting as many different eyes on your stuff as you can. Like you don't always have to do it, but I like to run things by like multiple types of people. Like, mom, what do you think about this? Like one of my friends
Gotcha.
that like, what do you think? Because to me, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm used to seeing it, but from their eyes, it's different.
Okay. And any like or what actually would you say is like the content that performs the best for you?
Honestly, when I freaking show up and I'm talking, which I hate
Okay.
because but it's fun because it's like nice to know that people like enjoy seeing me hearing me because sometimes you're like oh my voice is annoying but I'm like okay well, wow you want to hear what I'm talking about thank you but that and then like showing behind the scenes of how things are happening I feel like people really enjoy seeing like start to finish and like what the final product looks like so I think just showing people the process so they can like feel
Gotcha.
more I guess people are nosy they want to see what's going on.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else that I didn't touch on? Maybe you want to touch on social media wise?
Follow me on all my social media platforms.
Definitely do that. I'll put your tag and everything on all these clips and everything. So definitely follow her.
Perfect. Well, I don't know. Do I have anything else to share?
If not, definitely we can keep moving because I'm sure you've done other stuff outside of social media to get clients and stuff. Like, talk about like business cards or like where you kind of, do you do anything in person locally to kind of make yourself seen?
Here's one thing that I feel like it makes me like, ooh, I don't love it, but you gotta network, okay? I don't like networking. I will say, okay, people that have gone to networking events with me, they know that I'm like, I don't want to be here. But it's just you kind of gotta be out there mixing and mingling to the jingling beat. I like to go with friends if
The
I can.
jingling beat is crazy, first off.
That's the phrase. You can just be mixing and
I have
mingling.
never heard that said out loud like that long for.
Yes, you have. I just said it, and it is in a song. It's a very popular song. You've heard it.
Okay, got it.
But I like to make sure I have a friend with me, usually. I can be outgoing, but also I need like a buddy, you know what I mean? And one of you just never know like where your next client will come from, like what connection you make. I feel like there's so many events, especially as a photographer, that people like need a photographer for like events for like industry people, and they'll like ask me to like shoot them, and it's like sometimes it's like a lot. It feels like a lot of pressure, like whatever. But then like you get to meet
Yeah,
everybody, everyone knows your name, they see you, they see your work. And it might not pay off like right away, but like keep showing up and being consistent. Maybe not every single month or anything, but like, whenever you can. And then
got
like
you.
people will like think of you whenever they think need a photographer. And like I've gotten so many like gigs and like weddings and whatever from people being like, oh, you do this? Like so and so told me about you or whatever. So networking is huge. Find a group that makes sense for you to attend and try to just like meet as many people, I guess.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say like, do you like suggest any type of like specific events in general? Like,
do you want to know the wedding specific ones? That's all I got. We got
okay, yeah,
Okay, so we got AWP, which is the Association of Wedding Planners. We have NACE, which is, ooh, let me not tell you the acronym and be wrong. NACE, NACE. We have AWP.
okay,
And I'm going to a new one called WIPA that's starting tomorrow, or like their newest thing tomorrow. So I'll let you guys know how that is.
okay,
But it's just like connecting with industry people. And then you can also go to like open houses and like wherever like a bunch of people that are in your industry congregate. I think just showing up and like meeting people, saying hi, like,
gotcha.
get a joke, whatever, just being around people is helpful. Even if you're nervous to talk, like sometimes I am. I feel like go with a buddy, make a friend,
Well,
go with
that's definitely a hack. Like, if you got a entrepreneur buddy that also needs to be networking, y'all kind of tag team it, go, mingle
exactly.
together. Definitely.
Exactly. And I think the card business card is smart. Do I have one? No, but they have those digital ones that are really cool. But I
Mhm.
do want to get tangible ones because I recently, not recently at this point, it's been over like 6 months, but I changed my business name to be what it is now. So like I didn't get new cards. My dad's like over here passing out old ones at work. I'm like, Dad, that doesn't work
Gotcha.
anymore. But yes, I do need to make some new ones. So thank you so much for the accountability. I will be doing that. So
Okay, definitely. And okay, like in the phase of like you transitioning from working under somebody to doing it on your own, like did clients kind of follow you from over there, or like how do you get the first batch of like 3 or 4 people to pay for actually, paid
yeah.
services?
That's such an interesting question. Well, because I do weddings, it's kind of different. I didn't necessarily, I wanted to niche down because I didn't necessarily want to do like any other style. But in weddings, it's interesting because you shoot their wedding, they want you to shoot their family. They're like, I'm pregnant, I want to do this, I'm pregnant. So, like, I do have like couples that come back from like even back then that I do their family pictures and things like that. So, that is one way. But I'm trying to think of my very first. It might have just honestly been word of mouth. Like people know that I do it. And then like planners that I've
Gotcha.
known from back then, they were like, hey, okay, like this is great. Like we'll do this. So just building up my own brand was like a fun thing. But I think it was word of mouth, honestly, for those first few clients. And then I figured out how to friggin' organically market myself.
Okay, so you pretty much you're saying like you got from like handful of word of mouth clients to like full time, literally off content like Instagram.
Well, listen, you remember that fail of the Facebook ad? So that was like a 3 month chunk, maybe even four. That was a while. So no, it wasn't that smooth of like wedding clients strictly. Like it wasn't strictly wedding clients until more recently. I did a lot of stuff, but I wasn't like trying to advertise. Like I did a lot of stuff, so you wouldn't see that on my page. But like I saw a lot of events, like headshots, like corporate stuff, because I can do it. but I just
Gotcha.
don't enjoy it. It's not like, oh yay, I'm gonna go do headshots today. Like that doesn't get me going. So I had to like niche down. That was the hardest part. Like, okay, focusing my efforts. And that's when like
Yeah,
work,
because I've heard people like talk about how like they hate the wedding industry and like they could never see themselves doing that. But
yeah,
you love it, and I've interviewed another wedding photographer that she loves it too. So like,
yeah,
talk about like the parts of it that attracted you and kind of what other stuff you saw that you tried that maybe you thought would have been for you, and then maybe
yeah.
it didn't work out.
Okay, good, good. Okay, let's think of everything. From the beginning, I always have loved weddings. I think I just loved the idea. So to me, I don't think a wedding will like get old because I just love them in general. Um, so I think whenever it came time to like shooting things, I just knew that I gravitated towards that and like couples. I don't super love doing family photos, but that's because like I don't know, you don't really have a connection for a long time with people. It might also be like the element of like connection.
Gotcha.
So like knowing people from their engagement session and then maybe doing a bridal session, then their wedding. I love like that like whole story and like following them through that whole process. With the family, it can just be random people that pop up and you don't know how they are, and it's like drama with the kids and like there's a dog. Like it could just like be such a different dynamic and it's very hectic. And I'm like, okay, I'm not into that. Headshots,
You kind of can know what to expect based off a wedding versus the family shoot kind of thing
exactly. Yeah. Well, even though they're very unpredictable and can be crazy, but yeah, it's
to an
like
extent.
exactly. We're like following you through the day. Like it's a story that we're telling. Like I said earlier, I love storytelling. That's how I ended up doing film and all that stuff so much earlier in life. But I like following through the whole day and like having like just something to show for it. I think it's like really
Yeah.
fun. And I love being I think it's an honor to be able to be there for somebody's wedding day. So I think that's just it's fun. I love it.
Well, that's dope. And so as far as like you getting to like building yourself up to full time, what would you say, what would you attribute it most to of like you actually being able to grow enough clientele to do it consistently?
I think honestly, you just gotta be willing to do things that you don't want to do. Or like things that no like not a lot of other people were doing, I guess I should say. That's a better way
Okay.
of phrasing it. Like I lived at home with my parents for a really long time because I was like trying to make sure that I was like responsible and could figure out my clientele and figure out my life. I wasn't just gonna like go put myself in a situation where I was like trying to pursue something that I wanted to do, but I was like uncomfortable and
You
couldn't
didn't want to be a starving artist, is what it sounds
I'm
like.
right. I know that people like that's like you got to be a starving artist to make it, whatever. Like, I don't be starving. Do you know what I'm saying? But I want to
Well,
know
I
art.
disagree with that framework because to me, I feel like people should be like, get you a good job so you can pay your bills, and then all
Yeah,
your free time make music, all your free
yeah,
time paint. You know?
yeah, yeah. I definitely wasn't gonna just be out here like, and I also like wouldn't be the person that could like focus. And I had a full time non creative job, and I switched into photography. Props to the people that do that. That is amazing. I had a season of like doing that when I was like transitioning and like yeah, I did have a season of having a normal job, I guess 9 to 5 for a little bit. And that was to like build up some extra cash, but that was really hard. And I was like, okay, would not recommend. I didn't even last a year. So I don't know how people do that, but I definitely just made decisions to make sure that I was being smart. And then whenever, things took off and I was getting more successful, that's when I was like, okay, I can do this. But budgeting is also important. I'm not a pro, but let's make sure that we're being smart about our savings and our budgeting because entrepreneurship life is hard.
Definitely. And okay, so like you kind of share like a lot of the stuff you've done, like tried and everything. Like talk about like, you kind of gotten some momentum, you're doing pretty well for yourself now. Like talk about like what you can make as a photographer if you put the effort in, you do the work, like, what's like a good month you've had like in photography?
Ooh, these are good questions. I mean, a good booking month you can make. Okay, let's see. How would people rank me? You're gonna have to edit this part a lot because I
Okay.
think. Okay, again, I told you I'm not a numbers girl, so it's hard.
Oh, good. Take
But
your time, man.
my price range, I feel like my average couple pays maybe around like 5,000. So depending on like how many people book you like a month, that's what that is. I feel like some good months. I haven't really been looking recently because again, I'm not a numbers girly. Everyone should know this. I'm working on being a numbers girly. It's not my favorite thing.
Right, you in business.
Yeah, exactly. You can make I don't know what is you're asking tough questions.
For motivational purposes, like, for somebody thinking like, I want to do photography, but it seems so hard. Like there's so
Oh
many
no, no, no. Yeah.
steps.
It's definitely
Like
sustainable. I think okay, so if you want to cut it, you can just start here. It's definitely sustainable. I think you can definitely make some good money doing photography. You don't have to niche down. I feel like niching down makes it a little bit more challenging because you have to book specific types of clients, but you can make like 20K, you can make upwards of like those digits in a month. It just depends on like your booking and showing up on however you advertise yourself. Even Pinterest is huge now. Like just wherever you want to place yourself and like position yourself to bring in those clients, I feel you can make a lot of money for sure. There are down months. And so sometimes you might want to offer like mini sessions or like just do different things besides strictly like what you're
supplement.
needing. Yeah. But you can definitely make good money doing this. So don't be afraid of like being a starving artist. In the beginning, it's very hard, and like some months are very hard. But I mean, so I've seen even now, like I've seen really good months and I've seen really, really, really slow months. Like January and February were great. And then what was last month? March? Yeah, March was terrible. But like it ebbs and flows. And then that's
Gotcha.
why I was saying earlier, budget and make sure you have your savings in check and then you'll be fine. But I feel like that's a huge thing, making sure you have like you're budgeting well. That takes off a lot of stress. You don't feel like you're like running like a chicken with your head cut off to make it ends meet.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you have any budgeting tips as far as like things that you do that kind of do consistently?
I like to track everything. I have an Excel sheet. I also have like this really cool Excel document that I don't even know who made it. I just bought it off of some girl on TikTok and it's so good. It just shows like it shows forecasting for the whole like year. So there's different views that you can see and I think it's just really cool to like say like okay, I know I have this much coming in here. So if I do this, like it just helps you to like make a game plan for yourself and then you can break it down
Gotcha.
into smaller goals. So I really like that because that's just how my brain works. I need to be able to see it, or else I'm like, what? What's going on? But yes, if I think of her name, I'll tell you later so you can like help.
Gotcha.
But
Definitely
that is
plug
a
it if I
really good,
can.
yeah, that's a really good Excel sheet. And I like keep using it every year and for my personal and for my business finances. So
Okay, and you said people can make upwards of 20,000 stuff. Have you saying you've had a month like that before? You've
I've
made that
had
much?
some big months. Whenever I got my mentor, I was very impressed by the ability to make double like I just wasn't expecting that. Last year I like six figures for the first time, which is really cool.
Okay,
Thank you. I was very overwhelmed with everything, but I mean it was cool to see like that it's very possible and
right.
like just knowing that like how to like if you have a good product, you believe in it, just sell it, you know. So it's definitely possible. I would say don't if you're gonna start. I don't even want to say that. I was thinking about saying don't like narrow it down too much when you first start. If you're gonna do something like this, just maybe have like a couple different things that you offer and that you're really great at and that you love. Because
Gotcha.
yeah, it can be easy to get discouraged. if
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, you just said you had a six-figure year, so kind of like talk about the work-life balance of like how much you actually have to work to make that kind of money because people have the idea of like I want to work for myself, but you may end up working more hours working for yourself than working at a 9 to 5, so talk
yeah,
about that work-life balance, how often you work, all that.
I don't know if I'm a good example, guys. I don't
Do
know
you
if
do you
anyone's
get
listening.
any time off? Do you schedule any specific days off or anything?
I mean, I never work on my birthday. I try not like I try to have a rest day where I'm not working as much. I honestly will say last year I was go 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 go, and this year I'm trying to have more work-life balance, and I'm noticing that I am letting myself breathe and relax and enjoy life a little bit more. So last year I don't think I was the best. It is a lot of work, it is a lot of late hours, but I think time management is also plays a huge role into that. So I feel like I wouldn't necessarily schedule my days super well and I'd like be up super late and then I would have to get up early to do something else. So it's like I would be working really crazy early hours and I would also work really late and then I forgot to eat lunch or whatever. So it's like I was all over the
Gotcha.
place. So I don't know if I would recommend being as scatterbrained as I was, but
Right.
an app that really helps that I got recently is called Structured. Helps
Okay.
to time block my days. And so I need to time block and see like visually where my time is going, or else I'm just like la la la, like lollygagging. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
structured is very good. I'm an app girl, I'm an app person.
Me
I'm a
too. I use an app called Time Block. It's kind of
yeah,
similar where I kind of schedule out my
yeah.
specific times I do stuff.
Yes, so that's huge. That is huge. I'm glad that you use that already. That's perfect. So yes, that would be a better way to like implement work-life balance for sure. Do not take
Gotcha.
it simple. But yeah, you will 100% work more than a person that has a 9 to 5. And I mean, it's hard to shut off. It's hard to be like, okay, I'm not working right now. Like it's after
It's kind of
hours.
like 24/7 on call a little bit, like
Yeah, a little bit. I
to
feel
an
like,
extent, because obviously you're
yeah,
not jumping out of bed to go shoot, but to an extent, I'm sure you're like 1 in the morning responding to DMs, like if someone
right.
reaches out, you know.
I try not to respond at crazy hours. I love the
Okay.
scheduling features that like let you email somebody back like in the morning because I will forget and then
Gotcha.
answer them at like 4 a.m. Or that helps. But yes, you basically are always, your mind's always like on the clock.
Gotcha. And so, like, to kind of compare it to a 9 to 5, like, you might work 40 hours a week at a 9 to 5. Like, what would you say your average, like, if you say the last year or so, like, what was like an average?
Oh my gosh. Well, my grandma calls me a workaholic. She's like, you're the youngest
So at
workaholic.
least 80.
You're right. My grandma says that. So, hi, Graham. It's a lot, but like I said, this year I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be like a normal human this year, and like not like if I start early, like give myself a break in the middle of the day, and like then if I know I have to do something at night or whatever, like a shoot or like whatever I'm doing. But yeah, I was definitely leaning towards like probably 50 hours, and then my weekends were super long because weddings and stuff like that. So
Gotcha.
it's a really wonky work life balance. But I do try to have at least one day where I'm like doing absolutely nothing, like a Sabbath, if you will. Um,
Gotcha.
and I try to make it on Sunday when I go to church and everything like that. But sometimes I have weddings on Sunday, so I'm like, okay, Monday. Monday's my no working day.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other like downsides or anything you could think of, or like stuff that like maybe people, it looks good to like work for yourself, but maybe some of the real of like stuff that happens, stuff you have to deal with.
I would say self-discipline is huge. If like earlier I was saying like I didn't want to work for something that I wasn't super passionate about and didn't care, but I think if I didn't care about what I was doing, like there's no way I would be able to sit there and like edit my galleries or like respond to emails and stuff like that. So like I feel like you have to have a passion for it and then just have your self-discipline and your time management and I feel like you're good to go. But it is very hard and when you don't see the results instantly that you're hoping for, it is easy to get discouraged. So I think like having like your vision and your why in front of you and like for why you do this. For me, like I feel like it's a God thing. I feel like I'm called to do this. Like this is an area of like ministry technically to me.
Gotcha.
So that's my why. Like I don't think I would choose to work for myself and work this hard and like feel like I don't have like I don't think I would choose that per se, but I do feel like it's something that like God empowers me to be able to do. So you got to have your why, be set on that, and pray for the best,
Got it.
honestly.
Heard that. Okay, so yeah, all right. So like we talked about the downsides a little bit. Talk about some of the cool experiences you've had. I saw you traveled for some weddings and stuff. Talk about that stuff.
It is fun out here. It's fun to, wow, let me even think. What are my favorite experiences? Hold on, let me think.
Go for it.
It's cool to see like something that you've been thinking of in your head like come to pass, like in your work. Like, for example, I know that like maybe two examples of this. I saw like this one venue I thought was so beautiful, and then like I worked there like within like the year, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is great! I love how that happened. And a similar thing happened with like this San Francisco wedding. So I went to San Francisco, or I'm sorry, did I just lie to you? There's two Sans.
Okay, a different sign. All right.
What is it? San Francisco,
Jose, Padre.
California.
I don't know.
Oh my god. Okay, you're gonna
San
edit.
Diego. I don't know.
You're
San
gonna edit this part
Francisco.
out because I should know.
I don't
San,
know.
San, San. There's a San. Okay, whatever. I went to California. Let's just say that. And
Okay, cool.
there was one place that I saw like on a reel, beautiful like courthouse wedding. I was like, where is that? Like, because if you ever go downtown to our courthouses, they're cool, but they're not like this extravagant, beautiful, like intricate building. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to shoot here. And then I had somebody inquire about like just like, an elopement type of wedding, like in that space. So I was able to like go to California and shoot, which is so fun to like just pack up my stuff and go.
Yeah, that's dope.
It was like the most beautiful thing ever. And it was cool, but also it was like it's different whenever you go in like real life. You're like, oh, this is actually not what it looks like.
Right.
People are showing. But yeah, I had to edit out a lot of people in the background. But it was so beautiful and it was like, an amazing opportunity to like shoot and like be destination because my dad's a pilot, like I mentioned earlier. So I've always loved traveling and I've always wanted to like partner those two like passions. So I do like whenever I am traveling, try to find people to be like, hey, like let me shoot so I can like build a portfolio that doesn't look like I only stay in Houston ever. So it was cool
Gotcha.
to be able to like go somewhere else and shoot.
And yeah, talk about like the travel stuff. Like, is it like do they pay for? Is it like included in packages where like they pay for flight and hotel kind of thing?
Yeah, so that is something that we're working out more. The couple times that I've been, I think I went to California twice for weddings. I think that might have been all so far. But people pay for like your flight and like your hotel. But I think it's kind of honestly like, whatever like I would decide that I wanted them to do. So it's kind of like I'm like, okay, here are my prices. And if you want me to come, like just tack that on. But I'm not like super bratty yet. I'm not like I need first class only. Like, no, like we talked about earlier, like I am a standby kid. My dad's a pilot. I can fly in any condition. So just get me there
Gotcha.
and I'll shoot.
Heard that. Okay, so yeah, any other cool random stuff that's come from you being in photography? Any things you've like been a part of or done that maybe you didn't think that just kind of random stuff that's maybe happened that you want to highlight or talk about?
Random stuff. I mean, this has nothing to do with weddings, but if somebody's listening and they like are interested in photography and don't know what industry they want to be in, maybe consider corporate events because I did corporate events for a while.
Okay.
And one of the coolest ones I got to shoot, because I'm a girl, I don't know if guys think this is cool, but I did like the Ulta conference. You know what Ulta is?
The
Like not
makeup, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
They have like a general managers conference, and it was so cool. I got so much
Okay.
freaking free makeup, and they had a Flo Rida concert, so I got to like shoot that. So that was like really fun and random.
That's dope.
So but like otherwise, corporate events to me are very boring. But that was a really cool one. So, and they also you can make way more, I think, doing corporate gigs. So if you are interested in that, I'd say go for it. But it's not fun enough for me all the time. But that was very cool. So,
Gotcha.
10 out of 10.
Okay, so to kind of wrap it up on the business stuff, like if you let's say if you had to start over from scratch, like you're starting from the beginning, you have a camera, you have a passion for photography, like what things or what kind of core things would you focus on to kind of save time, maybe get to where you are a little faster, shorten the
Mhm.
time frame?
That's a really good question. Okay. Starting from nothing. I think honestly, you have
Yes,
to
sir.
focus on. Okay, wait, are we saying nothing like what is my experience level? Like, what
Like
is my.
literally saw you always had a camera, always were interested, saw this video, thought you were interesting. I have a camera that sounds interesting, like, you
Okay.
know,
From the
literally from
jump.
scratch.
Okay, wow. This is a lot. What would I tell myself? I think just learn as much as you can from people that are out there doing it. I think that can be very overwhelming, but maybe find a couple people that you look up to and if you could like shadow them and like pick their brain, that would be great. I think experience like on the job is important so you can like see what a full day looks like to see if you even want to do something like this all the time. What else? There's styled shoots. There's things called styled shoots. So if you want to go like kind of build your portfolio, get some practice like with models and couples in front of the camera and then have stuff to post, I think those are really fun to go to. Shout out to Style Shoots of Houston. I love them. Alencia is my girly pop, that's her company. Love them. Yeah, check them out. And that is like a good way to like kind of get comfortable in front of the camera and then you can like figure out your style and what you like, what you don't like. I also think that create like figuring out like how you like to shoot and edit is huge as a photographer. I feel like a lot of times, like if you get imposter syndrome, it's because you're like, oh, am I not good enough or am I not doing this well enough? But if you're really confident in like the work that you can constantly give out, then I think that like kind of nips all that in the bud. You're like, nope, this is what I love. Like I like it. Like that's art. You know what I mean? Like if we like it, we're confident in it, people will also love it and they'll want that. So figuring out how you want to edit, look up, like, I don't know, just get on Google, figure out all the things, like who's editing like how you want, what style are you going for, what poses do they do, and kind of really like fine tune your craft and get it. Like, I think people hate saying it, but like you got to do some stuff for free, probably. It's like and then that case, but like maybe just being a second tutor to people and like offering like your time to work with like other people that are, are already doing it. Or
Gotcha.
if you know some couples, grab them, say, let's go take some pictures wherever and plan a cool session. But yeah, I basically got a lot of stuff to do. But if you
Gotcha.
want
Yeah,
to do
definitely.
it, you got it. Like I'm rooting for you, I'm cheering for you. And yeah, that's a
Definitely.
long answer.
No, that was good. Perfect. And kind of like, wrapping up on that too, like, would you say you enjoy what you do? Like you talk about it being like a purpose thing, like you feel like you like wake up and feel fulfilled with what you do?
Yes, it is the coolest thing in the world. I feel like my absolute favorite just thing is like whenever they literally this is gonna be kind of cheesy, but also this is I mean it. I would like pray for these kind of clients that I have. And like, God, I just want to like have clients like this or whatever. And it's like the most amazing thing whenever like I get those clients and like I'm talking to them, we're planning their session, I'm at their wedding, like, and like they're just the people that I've always dreamed of working with. And it's just like that is the coolest thing in the whole world. Like that God can really give you the desires of your heart and he can like really make things come full circle. So if that's something that you feel called to do, if this is what you want, like I am right there with you. I believe that you can do this. Like there's nothing that's too hard. And I mean, you gotta stick through it. It's gonna be like a rough patch, but it might not be. Some people like start and then like they're amazing right away and like everyone wants to book them. So like your
Uh,
journey can be whatever. It doesn't really matter like what the standard blueprint has to be. But yeah.
Gotcha. Definitely appreciate that, sharing that information. And okay, kind of touch on like, any goals you have over the next year or two, anything you're building towards going forward.
Well, I have a friend that's getting married near Greece. And so I'm going as a guest, but I'm like, okay, we're gonna plan a styled shoot when I'm
You're
there.
gonna
So,
get something out of this.
right, exactly. I was like, let me make this work for me.
Gotcha.
So I am taking my camera. We're gonna have some fun shooting there. But I don't know, just booking more weddings for 2025. My goal would be to be fully booked by I don't actually have a time frame, but I want to be fully booked by I guess like Q3 for 2025. So it's been cool to see like I don't know, that's just like such a far away time it seems like, but it's so cool to see like the dates rolling in. Like, are you busy this time?
Well,
Like, let's talk about it in the future. So
gotcha.
yeah, that's one of my goals.
Gotcha. Well, definitely good luck with that. I hope you enjoy the wedding and everything.
Thanks.
Anything else maybe that I didn't touch on that, maybe I didn't mention that you want to mention, touch on a little bit?
You've said all the things. Wait, you can pause and take this out. What is your target audience's goal? Like, what should I talk about?
I mean, for me, like the idea really is like just showcasing for target audience. I would say is like anyone in Houston that has that's ever thought about having a side hustle or working for themselves. Like
Okay.
literally that wide of like if you've ever had an idea of starting something.
Anything, then just go. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think, wait,
And
ask.
also real quick, just because I have another question where I'll ask you like any advice for younger kids or anything. So if you want to save that for that.
Okay. Ask this question again.
I was just asking if you had anything that I didn't touch on, maybe I forgot or like something I didn't mention that you think is important.
Maybe not because people live here, so they get it. I was gonna say, like, remember, like, Houston's like super diverse, and there's like so many opportunities everywhere because we have so much, like, so many people, so many cultures, so many like everything. We have everything here, so this is the best place, I think. Biased, but it's the best place to start a business and be an entrepreneur. But
Gotcha.
that's what I think.
Cool. All right. So yeah, just to wrap up the show, do you have any other Houston entrepreneurs you know personally that you want to shout out, show some love to?
Wow, on the spot? I mean, they're all photographers. Is that okay?
Yeah, shout them out, man. Show some love.
Okay, Ray, I love you. Ray Whitney, she's a photographer. There's also Sine Photography. That's Alinta. That's my girl. I love her. Angela Lauren Photography. For Joy Photography, there's Erica Geyer Photography. Ray Tay's awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna feel bad if I forget somebody.
No,
Guys, I love all of you. Everyone,
definitely shout out to all of them. Definitely.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, and then any advice for like a high school junior, senior, maybe a college freshman that's like struggling with finding the path of like, they're in college maybe or they have the idea of going to college and figuring it out, but don't really know what they want to do. Any
Yeah.
advice as far as like finding the career path for them?
say really try to pay attention to what you naturally gravitate towards and like what brings you joy. I'm a big fan of doing something that you love, and I've said this a couple times, but I don't think your work should be something that you're miserable at. I really don't.
Right.
So if there's something that you're naturally good at and gravitate towards, I am sure there is a way to make money there. You know what I'm saying? Like people do, like there's so many careers nowadays, even influencing. Like who knew that that could be something? So really like especially if you're young and you don't have, much to lose, you just go for it. Like try why like the you'll regret not trying earlier if you just wait it out. So I think like just be bold, like bet on yourself, like maybe set like a time frame for yourself to get something done and just like really push and see what you can do. But I think you'll surprise yourself when you step outside of your comfort zone and go for it.
Gotcha. Heard that. Okay, and yeah, go ahead and drop your socials. Tell people where they can find you if they want to work with you, book a wedding shoot or anything.
All the things. Okay. My Instagram is Brandy Simone Photography. Brandy with an I. Simone also with an I. Like it's always with an I.
Right.
I think it is. And I think my TikTok is just Brandy the photographer. Brandy with an I, the photographer.
Gotcha.
And yeah, reach out there. You can DM me. I'll message you back, or there's like all the links in my bio. Classic statements you gotta make. But yes, I love to answer all questions about weddings and help out and just like send whatever I can. And I also love to just, shoot, go around town, take pictures and fun stuff. So if you're engaged or just in love in general, I'll take your pictures.
Gotcha. Definitely. So yeah, definitely if if you're watching this or listening to this and you got anything from it, definitely follow her, tap in with her content, go like some stuff. For me, if you could give me a thumbs up or a like on this video, I'd appreciate it. A plan emoji in the comments will help also. It'll, push the algorithm a little bit. So definitely drop a plan emoji. And thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming on and sharing. Definitely.
Yay! You're welcome. It was fun. Good.